The anticipated release of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 chipset next year has already stirred significant concerns within the smartphone industry, especially regarding its potential impact on device prices and profitability. Qualcomm's decision to develop and incorporate its in-house CPU designs into the Snapdragon 8 Elite family is part of a larger strategy to reduce its reliance on third-party designs and maintain a competitive edge in the mobile chipset market. However, this move is expected to result in a notable increase in production costs, which could ultimately lead to higher prices for smartphones that utilize this new chipset. The exact cost of manufacturing the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 chipset remains unknown, but various reports suggest that the price will be considerably higher than that of the Snapdragon 8 Elite. The Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is expected to be priced around $240 per unit, sets a baseline for what the Gen 2 version may cost. The price increase is attributed to several factors, including the in-house CPU design, which is likely more expensive to produce than previous solutions from ARM or other partners. Additionally, as Qualcomm continues to push the envelope with cutting-edge mobile technologies, such as 3nm process nodes, production costs are naturally expected to rise. One of the major factors driving up costs is the transition to advanced 3nm process nodes. Qualcomm is reportedly collaborating with both TSMC and Samsung to produce its next-generation chipsets. While TSMC is expected to use its 3nm and 3P process for the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2, Samsung is also rumored to be involved in production. The challenge here lies in Samsung's struggles with its 3nm gate-all-around (GA) technology, which has yet to achieve the yields necessary to scale up production effectively. If Samsung cannot resolve these yield issues, it could drive up the cost of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 due to lower production efficiency, which would make the chip more expensive for Qualcomm and, consequently, for smartphone manufacturers. Despite the potential price increase, Qualcomm is reportedly testing the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 earlier than anticipated. This could be a positive development, as early testing gives the company more time to optimize the chipset's manufacturing process and improve yields. If TSMC's and 3P node yields are better than expected, this could help bring down production costs and offset some of the price increases. However, there remains uncertainty around Samsung's involvement, and if its yields do not improve, Qualcomm may have to rely more heavily on TSMC, which could also affect pricing and availability. The price increase for the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 will not only affect Qualcomm's profits but will also pose a challenge to smartphone manufacturers. Companies like Samsung, Xiaomi, OnePlus, and others that use Qualcomm's flagship chipsets will have to carefully consider the impact of these rising costs on their profit margins. If the price of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 rises significantly, smartphone makers may find it difficult to maintain their competitive pricing strategies for high-end devices. This could lead to price hikes on flagship smartphones, which could have a cascading effect on the broader smartphone market. Manufacturers may respond to these higher chipset costs by adjusting their device prices, but this comes with its own set of challenges. The smartphone market is already highly competitive, and consumers are increasingly sensitive to price changes. As flagship devices become more expensive, some consumers may turn to mid-range options or opt for older models, leading to slower sales for new devices. Smartphone makers could also look for ways to offset the price increase by reducing costs in other areas of the device, such as the display, camera technology, or build quality. This may allow them to maintain profit margins without significantly raising the retail price of the device, but it could also result in trade-offs that affect the overall user experience. Despite these challenges, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 is expected to bring several significant improvements over its predecessor, particularly in terms of performance. The chipset is rumored to feature a 20% improvement in multi-core performance, thanks to the introduction of a new scalability matrix, SME, that will optimize performance across multiple cores. This will allow devices powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 to run more complex workloads more efficiently, offering a substantial boost to both single-core and multi-core performance. This performance improvement is expected to make the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 ideal for high-performance tasks, such as gaming, multitasking, and AI-powered applications. The Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 is also expected to feature improved graphics performance, with significant enhancements in GPU architecture. These improvements will benefit gaming and graphics-intensive applications, allowing for a smoother and more immersive user experience. Qualcomm's focus on high-performance features like these will make the chipset appealing to consumers who prioritize power and speed, particularly in premium smartphones aimed at gaming or media consumption. Additionally, the introduction of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 will likely encourage more developers to optimize their applications for this chipset's advanced capabilities. With its improved CPU, GPU, and AI performance, smartphones powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 will be able to deliver more advanced features, such as improved camera processing, better AR/VR experiences, and more intelligent system optimizations. These enhancements could make devices powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 highly appealing to tech enthusiasts and early adopters who value cutting-edge technology. However, despite the improvements, the high cost of producing the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 could limit its adoption, particularly in markets where consumers are more price-sensitive. Smartphone makers may need to find a balance between offering premium features and keeping prices competitive. This could lead to the development of more specialized devices, targeting specific segments of the market that are willing to pay a premium for high performance. Ultimately, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 is set to deliver significant advancements in performance and efficiency, but its high production costs will pose a challenge for both Qualcomm and smartphone manufacturers. As the smartphone industry adapts to these changes, companies will need to carefully consider how to price their devices and manage their profitability in the face of rising chipset costs. The impact of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 on the smartphone market will depend largely on how well manufacturers can optimize production and manage the pricing pressures that come with using a more expensive chipset.